Hey guys, we're back with another video today, and this one's gonna be a little special. As you already know, I just reached my 50 subscriber milestone. Actually at 75 right now, but this video took a long time to make. And originally I was gonna make a special Scratch project, right? Turns out that ended up requiring a lot more math knowledge than I currently possess. So I was thinking of something else, right? And then I was thinking, hey, why even start this channel anyways? Why start programming? Why get into tech in the first place, right? And I'm like, oh, third grade, right? But then what happened in third grade? And then I remembered that Mr. Brown, my computer teacher in third grade, really inspired me to get into this field of technology and all that kind of stuff, right? So what I went and did is I went ahead, reached out to him, and yeah, so we just had a quick little chat, and yes, that's this special video. Also, because it's 50 subscribers, I decided that I'm gonna go ahead and release my previous Scratch videos. Currently, they were like privated, right? And I made them during like COVID, and I kind of want to restart my channel and make it look better and everything, right? But I'm like, you know what? Might as well just embrace what I did earlier on, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and release those videos. So you can go on my channel and you'll see some videos from like 3 or 4 years ago, right? And like 2020-ish, right? So you can go ahead and just watch them if you want to learn anything more about Scratch. So yeah, without further ado, here is Mr. Brown. So yeah, I mean, I kind of really want to thank you for like kind of encouraging me getting into tech and programming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
So I mean, I kind of remember in third grade, right? Because I was sitting in your class. I think we used to use like Wixie or something like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of since then, I'm like, oh, cool, you can actually program things, right? Because before that, I used to like play with like toys, like toy robots and all that kind of stuff, right? And then I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then that I kind of got into like programming robots, and then I got into computers and all that kind of stuff. So
Awesome.
yeah, that was really inspired me. So I just kind of had a couple questions for you in general
Sure.
about like technology and stuff like that. I was kind of wondering, how did you yourself get into technology?
So for me, it was just one of those things that like as a third grade teacher, I was a third grade teacher probably for I think it was 11 years at Hawk. And I always kind of love the outlet that kids had to be able to use technology to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like right before I switched districts into West Windsor, I got my master's in curriculum instruction and technology, and before I was in West Windsor, I spent 4 years in Trenton, and I was going to actually be a tech administrator there. Um, but the opportunity for West Windsor came, and I saw it was a great opportunity, so I switched and I just stayed as a regular ed, teacher. But I always, really enjoyed using, lots of different, tools for technology to help my kids, succeed in the classroom. And so when the opportunity came along for there to be a new tech teacher at Hawk, I kind of jumped at the opportunity, and that's what kind of like, sort of led me into it. But like, I always made videos with my kids. I always, try to think of ways that they can, incorporate different, different technology and play like, different fun online games and stuff that would, boost their knowledge and on any general ed subject. It was just a natural fit. And then later on, when I got a chance to explore things like Wixie and code.org and stuff, then I really started to learn a little bit more. So I don't really have a huge, technology background. I don't have like a coding background or anything like that. I'm just somebody that just really enjoys, working with kids and trying to help them succeed.
All right, yeah, that's really cool, and it did really end up working out for you. So yeah, um, so in terms of like teaching, right? Like, because on my channel as well, I also like try to like teach other people programming things like that, right? I used to do that, and then now during COVID, and then now I'm working on a project, right? So that's my main
Right.
channel right as of right now. But I kind of used to teach things like Scratch and all that kind of stuff. So do you have
Yep.
any tips for teaching in general?
Um, I mean, it's so broad, but just really like trying to make it fun for the kids is probably one of the biggest things for me. You know what I mean? Like I always try to do lessons that, I would want to sit through. My wife and I joke about it all the time that I hang out with 9-year-olds all the time and never grow up. But that literally is one of the best things to make me a strong teacher, and is in the fact that like, I'm not going to give kids lessons that I wouldn't really enjoy myself. So that's kind of like at the heart of it all. And then just, taking some things from simple to complex, in certain using that strategy like to break, harder material down and chunk it for kids that they can understand it. And then the other piece, once you've done, worked in something for a while, then giving them challenges. So those are two things that, can really, really help you out as a teacher, thinking about the subject matter, whatever it might be. Like if you're, we were just actually talking about using the Ozobots this week. And once they learned how to use the Blockly program for the Ozobots are really, really similar to code.org. Now I'm giving them challenges. Now I'm thinking about how can you use, every little different category in the Blockly program to go and make your own trail or go to make your own path to make the robots do, certain things and have fun applications. And then other kids are taking it to the next level and the robots play sound. Some kids are actually making a whole song out of, just being able to, program a couple notes. So just an example of just some of the fun stuff that, we do as teachers, that we give the kids the power to be able to create, and then they create something really, really special. So.
All right. Yeah, that sounds really, really cool. So you mentioned that you also use like code.org, like, so I think when I was in third grade, that was still a thing, but I'm not sure if we use it as much in third grade or something like that. I think
we still do use code.org. The neat thing is just like, it's the first like bridge, and it's like one of their first like, examples of them, really getting a chance to code something and create something on their own. The neat thing about code.org is there's like, code.org has so many games and stuff with like just, fun characters and stuff. Like you might remember Star Wars and stuff like that. They had Star Wars, they had Moana, they had like any of the
I
obviously
Cartoon
Minecraft.
Network.
So they have lots of neat characters and stuff that you can actually, make the character move. You can make the character, getting out of different situations and stuff. So it shows you how to do lots of different little programming techniques and stuff through the use of popular characters, and that's one of the things that made it so cool to start. But now so many huge movie stars and big corporations and stuff have literally put a lot of money into it to be able to make it something that's really classroom friendly and something that you can use throughout the whole year. So now we spend a good probably 2 months using it, where the kids go through the actual lessons of the course. And I could actually do literally most of my actual tech course using it, because there's a lot to it, and there's different levels from what you can do each year. But the kids go through the course and they go through, programming and sequencing and learn how to use loops and conditionals and all that fun stuff. But then in the end, they make their own projects, which is, really, really neat to see. And if you actually take a look at, I just posted actually some of them on my Twitter page as well. So they came out really, really neat this year. And I'm really, really proud of them.
Also, I noticed one thing I've kind of noticed among like dev programmers in general, right, is that I'm sure your students don't face this yet, right, but a lot of people get really, really passionate about programming, and then they kind of start working on projects, and then oftentimes they'll start working way too long on a single project, and sometimes face burnout. So do you have any like tips on how to prevent that? Because I know I have my tips, but
yeah, no, I mean, with anything, it's just balance, right? Like just making sure you have balance in your life and stuff. I try my best to do that as far as teaching goes, but sometimes it's very, very difficult, because while I do a lot of teaching, I do a lot of coaching as well. My wife doesn't see me much just because I'm always working.
Mm-hmm.
But like just trying to have that balance of having the balance for family life, having balance for, your friends, having balance for, doing your project, set goals of where you want to do. And just like any, big projects, like I said previously, can you chunk it? So if you're doing a program, it's going to take a couple days to do it, kind of set, a parameter of where you want to be each day, and then just, call it quits. If you have
Mm-hmm.
extra time on the weekend or extra time some other time, that's great, but you still want to make sure you have, a balance for your life and a balance for the things, other things that are important to you. Making sure you're cleaning up around the house and doing whatever else stuff you need
Yeah.
to do for your family as well. But also trying to reach your goal, but, really kind of making sure that you understand like, how much you want to do in what day, and how much you want to accomplish by a week or a month or whatever, and setting those goals. And that's something that can help you later on in life and help you in college and in your work-life balance as well.
All right, yeah, thank you. And is there like, do you have any tips for like new programmers or like people who are just trying to get into technology or even teaching or anything like that?
Well, really, I mean, social media is so good. Social media could really help you find and finding and following, the people that know a lot about your topic is really important. Like, this is something I didn't have when I was growing up. It's something that I
Mm-hmm.
wish I had. And even as a tech teacher, I try to, for one, surround yourself with people that are like-minded, and people that also are interested in your field is really important. So luckily, we have teacher resource specialists that I'm pretty close with, that really kind of help me, and they do lots of the dirty work. They're all, I mean, that's pretty much their job, is to always find out what the new and most creative programs and stuff are, and the new technology that's coming out. But social media, I would say, is just an amazing outlet. Either looking on Twitter or Pinterest, or either Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and searching your topic of what type of thing that you're looking for, and finding the people that have it and following them, and so that's just a great outlet for doing it. And then just old school, just asking people in libraries, asking people in Barnes and Nobles and stuff, is there books that I can find on this topic and stuff to help me out and bridge the gap and stuff like that. So but using social media to help you follow some of the latest trends is usually pretty important.
All right, yeah. I don't really have any other questions. Is there anything else you want to share or?
No, I mean, I would just end by saying this means so much to me. You know what I mean? Like, me going into the field of technology, I sometimes I don't remember, like, how it felt to be, a kid going in and going through this.
Mm-hmm.
But I do try to make my classes fun, and for you to, come back even years later and say just how fun the class was, or how that class inspires you, just means the most to me. So this really does mean a lot to me, that I'm able to, talk to somebody that, like, took what I was doing, took it seriously, and something that, hopefully you'll have a very good career. Looking at your page and looking at all the stuff that you've done, hopefully you have a very good career in technology. But, just we're the start of your digital lives. And it's so fun to see, like, kids grow into this. And so it means a lot to me to just see people like you really taking hold of this, and really, using the internet well, and doing things appropriately, and hopefully you have a great career, and don't forget about me when you're a millionaire. And maybe one day we can have another conversation,
Mm-hmm.
later on down the line. But this just means a lot to me. I'm really, really excited. I was really excited to read your email, and just, hear that you're doing great things, and hopefully you and other colleagues and other kids that, came from that Hawk school to, really take the next level, and change the world, basically.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So
I mean, it's not just me. My friend, also named Bayan, was in the same class as me, in third grade, right? And so he's also got into programming and things like that.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, just please just keep me in touch, and just,
yeah,
let
for
me know
sure.
the great stuff that you're doing. And you're senior?
Freshman
What
actually.
degree? Oh, you're freshman. Okay,
Yeah,
so we'll definitely keep in touch then.
yeah.
Well, good stuff.
Mm-hmm. All
All
right
right.
then. I guess thank you for coming for the meeting then. So yeah, that was my talk with Mr. Brown, my third grade computer programming teacher. And I really hope that you, like me, learned something from him, right? Learning about programming, learning about teaching, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, thank you guys for getting me up to 50 subscribers. Well, now 75, right? And yeah, I guess you have a great day then. Bye.